You are listening to Detroit Craft Academy, episode number 14.
Detroit Craft Academy. Detroit Crafts with Jody. Detroit Craft Academy.
Hey buddies, thanks for tuning into the show. I'm your host, Jody Lynn, and I'm an illustrator from Detroit. I created this show as a way to connect with local artists and entrepreneurs and to find out all the cool things everyone is up to. So, as it turns out, there's some really cool things happening around the city this summer. If you haven't heard yet, Detroit Kite Festival is happening on July 16th. I'm really excited to check this event out. It's a kite festival that takes place on Belle Isle, and it's all about kites. You get to make kites, fly kites, learn about kites, hang out with cool people that are really into kites. I'm totally going to this free event, and I think that you guys should too. Mark your calendars, because Hamtramck Labor Day Festival is happening the first weekend in September. That's going to be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We are still accepting applications for any artists, vendors, or makers that want to be part of the festival. It's a 3-day festival. It's really fun. If you're interested, head on over to hamtownfest.com and you can apply to be part of the festival. On this week's episode, I talk with Clare Fox and Wayne Maki of Mutual Adoration. Clare and Wayne are both local Detroit artists that are design enthusiasts focused on creating furnishings for unique homes and innovative commercial spaces. I was able to visit their studio in which they live and share workspaces with other artists. We talked about learning the business side of small business as an artist and living in Detroit. I hope that you all enjoyed this episode as much as I had fun recording it. But before we get on to the show, first a word from our sponsor. Are you looking for a place where you can make your products or artwork in a supportive, sustainable community setting? The Green Garage, a shared workspace in Midtown Detroit, is looking for the next maker business to join their co-working community. They currently have a 200 square foot workshop available that would be perfect for a small market space or artist studio. $500 a month rent includes dedicated access to the workshop, as well as a Wi-Fi, printing, scanning, meeting, and kitchen space, and opportunities to learn and network with a diverse community of doers in an environmentally sustainable setting. Get in touch with Matt Piper at matt@greengaragedetroit.com or at 313-312-5448. And you can always head on over to greengaragedetroit.com and check out their website. And now, on with the show. Today, I am joining Clare and Wayne from Mutual Adoration in their studio and home. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Hey.
Hi,
thanks.
Jody.
So first, I want to go in a little bit about your guys' background. Where did you grow up, and where did you go to school?
Well, we're both Detroiters. I grew up on the west side.
And I grew up on the east side.
Yeah. And we've spent most of our lives in Detroit. I was away for about 10 years and came back to do my undergrad at Wayne State and went away to grad school for 2 years, but then returned to Detroit, as I always do. And that's when Wayne and I met and started working.
Mm-hmm. And I grew up on the east side, went to Michigan State for about 3 years, then spent some time in Oklahoma City making a film that never came to fruition. I went to school out there at OU, came back, did some classes at CCS, but I'm mostly self-taught in terms of what I do today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, awesome. So how did you guys meet?
Online dating.
Oh, cute.
Yes. Wayne's my first internet date ever.
That's kind of awesome that it worked out, because then you don't have any, weird online dating stories.
No.
I know. I really don't have any weird online dating stories except for just this one.
We met online, and we started the business together.
Pretty much,
It's a weird online dating
kinda
story.
Quick. No, we met, and we didn't even talk online very, very long. What, like a week? Mm-hmm. A couple messages back and forth. There's really not a very interesting history to it. It was just like, okay, you want to get a drink? Let's get a drink. We met at Donovan's on a Wednesday night. There happened to be a funeral happening.
Oh my gosh.
So our first date was at a wake.
And that, that was, I don't know, it was pretty quick and easy.
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone complains so much about online dating. It's,
I think it's just scary, maybe.
yeah.
Not for you guys. You guys got it, figured it out. So, how long did it, like, when did you guys decide to start a business? Was that, like, immediately?
A few months in.
It was about 6 months.
We started making projects. I don't know that we decided to start a business. The business was later and kind of maybe accidental a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we realized really quickly that we wanted to do some projects together and build some things. I had a show at the Whitdell Gallery when it was over in Southwest with my friend Undine Broad she's from New York. We met in grad school, and she was in town to do an installation. We had just a group show there, and Undine and I built this big installation together using mostly reclaimed wood. And I don't know, Wayne and I had been dating, like 4 months or something?
Like that, yeah.
And he was a champ and helped load in and out a bunch of wood. And then at the end of the show, you wanted to save
some of it was so pretty we couldn't throw it away. So I happened to have a garage, and a lot of it went into my garage.
Yeah. I was working out of a studio in Eastern Market at that time and didn't have space to really store a bunch of reclaimed wood, but Wayne did. So it worked out, and we started making things over there in his basement, a couple of little tables, a couple more little tables, and the business grew pretty organically out of that.
Oh, cool. So how did the name Mutual Adoration come to be?
We like the words, we like the name. I had been doing a little curatorial project with another guy we went to school with. You probably remember Lou Casanelli. Yeah. So Lou and I had curated some shows, and we started a little residency art collective called Adoration. That name was found from looking at old records on our building. It's at the corner of Gratiot and Russell. Okay. They used to hold a patent back in the 30s for Adoration straight razors. That was pretty much the only thing we could find online for historical records on that building, which was pretty interesting and kind of cool to us. But we really liked the name. So we were working under the name Adoration. And then when this other thing started to happen, Wayne and I thought Mutual Adoration sounded really good. And
it speaks to our feelings for each other, our feelings for the city, the city's feelings for us, thankfully.
Yeah. Luckily, it's mutual.
That's awesome. Did you guys come from creative families?
I did not. No.
So was your family supportive of you, like, doing creative things?
I think by the time I started this business, they were, they kind of resigned themselves to the fact that I wasn't going to get a job at the Chrysler plant, which was the goal in my house growing up. Prior to this, I was a photographer for about a dozen years. I photographed all kinds of stuff, but mostly weddings and events and some fashion and product photography and that sort of thing. So I'd already been doing creative things, but that pretty different than my family of origin and where I came from.
For me, I haven't lived with my family since I was pretty young, and struggled a lot as a teenager, and left home and then left the state, and so I was kind of out of it and then left the country. I was away for a long time, and so they didn't have a lot of say or control over what exactly I was getting into. I think they were really happy when I came back to the U.S. and wanted to finish a degree. So they were really comfortable with that. It being an art degree, I don't know that they were super thrilled, but now that it's turned into, now that the art degrees have turned into a business, I think they're happy now with the business aspect of it. As far as the creative process of it, I don't think they have a lot of understanding.
I agree. And I think my family's really supportive now.
Right.
I don't think there was a lot of understanding as to what a creative business was or what somebody that made art did. A story from my childhood, I So I was a photographer for a lot of years before starting this business. And when I was a kid, so I'm old, and we had Bazooka Joe comics when I was a kid. So you'd buy a piece of gum for a nickel, and you'd have a comic wrapped around it. I don't know, do you remember this?
I do.
And then each of those comics, you could save up points, and you could mail them off to get prizes. And I saved and saved and saved, and I got a camera. I mailed away for this camera, and I waited my 8 to 12 weeks for it to come, and it showed up, and all I wanted to do was take photos with the thing. And my mom was like, oh, now I have to buy you film, and then we have to pay to get it developed, and she didn't do any of that. So I was like, you know what, Mom, I'm going to become a professional photographer. And that's what I ended up doing later on. But that's kind of where my family was in terms of creativity. I think it was looked at as something extra as opposed to something important.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said, my mom is lovely, and she helped us move, and she was our first employee because she came and helped us our first holiday season to make frames. She's really supportive now.
Yeah, well, I think, like, I don't know, like I grew up in the area, too, and I think, like, just being from, like, a blue-collar, like, working-class city, a lot of families that come from that, like, don't understand, like, art is something extra. Like, you pay to go to the museum and see art. You pay to, like, get, like, and art supplies is not, like, a necessity,
Right.
but to us it is.
Yeah.
No, and as far as a career track, it should all be about making yourself as hireable as possible and getting a good salary with benefits and a pension and all of these things that I think our families worked for. And so choosing to go a different path doesn't make a lot of sense to them, right? It's hard to kind of navigate that.
So as far as, like, working with reclaimed materials, why did you guys decide to start working in reclaimed materials?
There's an abundance of it.
Yeah.
And
At first, it was what we had.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of stuff left over from her installation, and we started making things with that.
I think, I don't know, especially in my art practice, I've tended to work with what's around me, and that kind of influences the practice. When it came to wood, I had worked with wood a little bit before, so had Wayne. We were interested in making some functional pieces, so that was kind of, that sort of directed us, but it might have been different if we were in a different city or trying to do this at a different time. But here and now, there's a lot of wood to be worked with in Detroit, and with all the homes being deconstructed and all the buildings being renovated, and there's a lot of housing stock that's blighted and coming down. So that's just it's a plentiful material. Yeah. I think if we lived somewhere else, it could have been marble, it could have been stone, it could have been anything.
Steel, it could have been anything, yeah.
It could have been something different, but that was really just the track we were on.
So do you guys, like, go out and, like, collect it yourself, or do you go to, like, the reuse?
We did at the beginning. Yeah, we did a lot of salvaging at the beginning. We did a lot of answering to Craigslist ads for free firewood.
And we'd show up, and it was beautiful Brazilian cherry flooring that people were like, well, you can't use it for a floor again, so it's good for your campfires.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gotten some barnwood from up in northern Michigan. Yeah, all from Craigslist ads and whatever. These days, after being in business a couple of years and having our names out there a little bit, I think we started connecting with different customers and then contractors, and now people look us up and will find us and send wood our way, which is great.
Yeah, that is awesome. What is your favorite thing about being artists in Detroit?
I think this is a really interesting time to be here, and I think that contrary to the narrative you hear about the city on a national level, there's a lot of support here for artists and for small business. Because I think we kind of straddle that line between artist and business owner. There's a lot of support here. There's a huge network of people here that make things. We met this morning with somebody that makes clothing, and we have friends that do work with steel or illustration, or, the mediums are all over the place, and we know dozens and dozens and dozens of people that are in the same place as us, that are feeling that same struggle, that are making things the way they want to make them, it's just a really interesting time for that, which I really like.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we've lived in a lot of different cities and a lot of different kinds of communities, and there are great places out there, but there's kind of no place like home a little bit.
Totally.
Like, this is, I don't know, this is where we come from, so I think we see beyond, beyond the bad press and beyond the new Detroit hype and all of the, I mean, we kind of see beyond all of that stuff, and we know that this is a place about people, and the people here are fantastic, and it's, definitely where we're comfortable and inspired by.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been like a business?
Since 2013.
It's been 4 years now.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any changes in the market since you began your business versus now?
It's really funny because not coming from a business background and just coming from a fine art background or from a commercial photography background, it's a little bit, sometimes I feel a little unqualified to answer questions like that because I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And it's not like we set out with an idea in mind and then did a bunch of market research and formulated a plan around it. We just started making things, and things kept selling. People wanted to buy everything that we make, which is why we're sitting here around a folding table rather than one of our dining tables, because we can't even manage to make ourselves a dining table, because every time we make one, it sells. And
we have definitely seen our sales move from local to national, which has been really interesting to watch. Today I'm packing up, we've got about a dozen orders to go out to FedEx later today. And we have stuff going to California, to Miami, to Boca Raton, to Oregon, all over the place. And we didn't used to have that. And I'm not sure if that's a function of our online reach is just broader now because we've been around longer and more people are finding our website, or if the kind of cachet of Detroit is more of a national thing now. But people seem to be seeking us out specifically, or Detroit makers out specifically.
Yeah.
And we're shipping all over the place. It's amazing. I never would have, we have a map downstairs of everywhere we've shipped to. We had to stop putting pins on it because we ran out of the little pins. But we have stuff that's gone to all 50 states. It's just amazing the national support that we've gotten. Yeah.
But I think there is also a bigger support for handmade items too. I mean, you see Amazon starting a handmade section, and I think overall, people are interested not just in Detroit or in shopping local, but also shopping handmade and sustainable businesses and responsible materials. I think people are looking for that.
So, like you guys just moved into a new building. You want to talk a little bit about that and if you have a name? And
Yeah, I'd love to. So we just moved into a building on the far east side of Detroit that is, it's about 10,000 square feet on the first floor. And it was originally built as a post office. It's beautiful. It has all the original light fixtures and the original hardwood flooring and terrazzo up front. So we're opening a retail store up front, and then we are subletting some space to our good friends around town.
Matthew Tate of Tate Design Co. and Leadhead Glass, Chad and Derek. And then us, Mutual Adoration. So we're the sort of studio crew. The front of the building will be a store called Post.
Oh, that's so
good. To honor the post office. And so, we've just been calling it Post in reference to the entire building, I suppose.
The Post building, maybe. We're actually meeting with a sign painter tonight, and we're going to talk about signage out front, and we'll have to finalize this stuff. But
that'll be so cool.
Yeah, it's a good big weird building.
It is, and like most other buildings in this town, it was a church at one point as well. So
cool.
Right now it says Mission Baptist Church on the outside, but we're removing all that signage and putting up our own Post signage.
Nice. Matt and I were we're laughing. It was like, no, you guys should just be the nice people studio because everyone that there is just really nice.
No, in fact, we were resistant to, I think, co-working spaces for a while. I mean, we started out of our house, working out of the basement. And when it was time for us to find a studio, of course, there are plenty in town and lots of options. But we were very resistant to going into collaborative sort of co-working spaces for that reason. Like, it's tricky.
Especially if it's a space that you don't own or control, then you're sharing it with people that you don't necessarily know, and things can get really sticky there. So we've kind of hand-selected all the coolest folks in town to be here. And I like Nice People Studios because we are all really nice and we get along great.
Everyone brings snacks. Audrey makes cakes. It's good. It's good.
So what have been some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome starting your own business?
Once again, how long you got?
No, we're talking about it.
All right.
Growing has been hard to figure out, hard to navigate. If it was just the two of us, staying small, working out of the house, not having to worry about rent, not having to worry about payroll, there's some sort of beauty and simplicity in that scheme. But
however, it's almost impossible to make, with what we do, it's almost impossible to make enough money by staying small. We can stay small and keep our day jobs or get day jobs or whatever and do this in our spare time, but we wanted this to be a full-time job for us. And to make it a full-time job for us, we needed to create full-time jobs for other people so that we can sell enough work to make that work. So since starting the business, we now have 2 full-time employees and 1 part-timer, and that has been the best decision that we've ever made, is hiring people on. It's been absolutely amazing. A little bit scary because now we're not only responsible for our own rent, but we're responsible for the bills of other people, right? Like, we need to make that payroll every 2 weeks, and that's been frightening sometimes.
That has been very frightening, and diversifying our product range enough, like going from the days of just where we would make what we want to make on a whim based on our own interests and what we felt like doing. Now it's keeping up with like a production schedule, coming up with collections of goods, things that can be sent out to stores, and dealing with wholesale accounts and putting together a wholesale catalog, and just keeping all of the revenue streams open for the regular collection and regular production goods, and keeping custom clients coming back and doing big projects, kind of juggling all of that at once. It's been tricky.
Like, as far as like, one thing that I always have issues with is like just like the business side in general. It's like having, because you have to learn all of that like all at once.
And they do not teach you anything in school.
No. Like, I honestly, like, as soon as I left, because I went to school for photography too, and like when I left school, I started doing freelance photography. And it was like getting smacked in the face with reality, like, wait, you just taught me how to like be a photographer, but you missed like this 75% of the actual work that I would have to be doing.
Absolutely,
we've never learned any kind of bookkeeping, just nothing, none of that. Even I remember leaving undergrad and doing a short seminar course in, professional building, how to get yourself out to galleries, right? That has nothing to do with what we do now, or how to really reach out to stores or deal with buyers or trade shows, or even even direct to customer shows, right? It really has nothing to do with it. In grad school, they don't teach you any of that. I'm prepared to be an art professor. That's it for a job that doesn't really exist. Or have a need. But otherwise, there was like no education. So, but this is where Wayne and I have felt really lucky to be here and in Detroit at this moment. There are tons of opportunities and resources. So we've kind of explored all of them, whether it's Lifeline and SCORE and Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses. We've the Michigan Women's Foundation. we've reached out and taken a lot of business courses.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite resource?
Well, the Michigan Women's Foundation has been amazing for us. They gave us a round of funding. They gave us, actually, we've taken 2 loans from them for Buildout and stuff. One when we moved into our old space and one when we moved into this space. But greater than that, they've helped us with, we've taken a class on business growth. They've hooked us up with an attorney when we had some legal questions. They are a really wonderful resource for making those connections that we would, I mean, we don't know any attorneys.
We don't know any attorneys.
Yeah.
We don't know any accountants.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all, with all the questions we have, we just know a bunch of other artists and makers, and everyone's kind of struggling to get answers to these. But given the more professional diversity of their network, it's been kind of incredible. And then I just finished the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses course this past spring, and that was huge. And again, a whole nother network of people.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what that is?
I will talk about that all day.
Okay, so I want to hear about it because I've heard of it, but I don't really know.
Yeah, I'm 100% in the cult now.
Okay.
It was really intense to
So first,
do the
start with what it is.
So it is funded by Goldman Sachs, but it's not really run by the devil, like I had feared. It is, so they're doing this program in a bunch of different cities around the country, and Detroit is one of them, and actually they're best performing. They've been doing it, I think, since 2014, and it's a 4-month program that is, they call it a mini MBA. It's really intensive. It's hosted by Wayne State. So you go there and meet with these, with a group of business owners. In my class, there were 29 of us all together. And it's everyone from small little companies like ours doing handmade goods to franchises, to people with multiple locations, to people with 150 employees. It's a range of industries.
Wow.
But all small business owners. And it was a really amazing, incredible experience, covering everything from the financials to the projections to HR and hiring and firing.
Negotiations.
Negotiating, legal contracts. I mean, everything that we deal with. Pretty incredible and really supportive. And their mission is to get business owners working on their business rather than in their business, and really focusing on what your mission is, how big or how small do you want your business to be, how can you get there, what are the roadblocks, what are the obstacles, how to get you to overcome them. It was really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Yeah, it was very hard, but really, really good.
So do you win money from it, or is it
No? But the class is totally free. So once you get through the application process and the interview process, and if you get accepted, you don't pay a thing.
So you just get the knowledge.
Yeah, which is better than winning money, because then you
Totally.
can make your own money.
Exactly.
And when I mean the knowledge, I'm still talking about a god with a lightning beam going into your head, knowledge.
No, what was really interesting is rather than giving you answers to problems, because every business is so different and everyone's problems are similar but not the same, they really kind of instill the education into how to solve your own problems. How to evaluate opportunities, how to decide if something is worth pursuing, not worth pursuing, what changes you need to make to be sustainable. It was really fascinating. And they do put you in front of a lot of funders. So for those people who need to raise money, who need to learn about grants or small business loans or whatever the case is, getting working capital, you get introduced to a lot of people to make that happen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I highly recommend it for everyone. It was kind of amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. I've heard of people doing it before, and I've been interested in it, but it's very strange as just an illustrator, because you're just I don't know, I mean, for me, I'm just like, I don't know, I just draw things.
Yeah.
That's my business. I don't know, I just draw things. I don't even know how it works.
That's that blue-collar background, because I have a lot of that in me, too. I just make stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I mean, don't minimize what you do. And
Yeah.
it's taken me a lot to get past that of like, yeah, I'm just here making stuff in a wood shop. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But the reality is we're running a business. We are hiring people. We're creating jobs with what we do, which is just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we wanted our reach. I mean, we talk about how we kind of fell into it and how it happened sort of organically, but at this point, I think we want it to be as big as it can be, you know? Because we want to keep material in use out of landfills. We want to keep creating things. As long as people want to buy things, we know that we can make things that are worth that.
Yeah.
And we want to, working in a shared studio and being able to hire people and being able to promote people and pay them more, that's like amazing. So we just want to keep doing more of that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that you're also, like, going to be opening up your own shop, too, because it's, like, pretty amazing. Because then that's, like, a completely other different thing.
Yeah, so that was something that sort of came to be towards the end of this class. We had talked about it. We had known that maybe we wanted to do this, but being able to like evaluate it, with a more business-minded eye, was like, does this really make sense? And it turns out it does. It really does make sense.
Well, and you're so close to Grosse Pointe, and they don't really have any handmade shops. So, like, you would be, like, the only handmade shop over here, which is pretty badass.
And customers already come to us. They want to come and pick up orders. They want to meet with us about a custom project. That happens often. Or they just want a studio visit. They want to take a little look around and see what we have going on. Every time that happens, they want to buy stuff. And so we've had to sometimes dig through inventory, pulling things out of boxes. Do we have anything for sale? What's ready,
What can go?
Finally it was like, let's just keep some shelves stocked full of stuff. But with our studio mates, it's the same thing. We have people that want to come and visit. We should all make some money off of it, right?
Yeah, why
We
not?
should all just be able to, do that. And you know what it's like if you pair up good prints with our frames.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. So we have all of our printmaker, illustrator, photographer friends, everyone out there who's making work on paper, that we've already been framing your prints anyway from your customers.
Yeah.
Let's just keep them here in one place. So we can make the frames. Other people can make the prints, and we can pair them up.
So be on the lookout for a wholesale order from us very soon.
I know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Right around the corner.
Oh, my goodness. Do you guys have a favorite project that you've worked on?
Well, recently we did a commercial build out for a client who is just the nicest guy we've ever met. We love the space. It's a restaurant that just opened over in Midtown, and it was so much fun and just phenomenal.
Can we do a little buzz marketing?
Yeah,
name
where
dropping?
was it?
It's called Royale with Cheese. It's right at the corner of Cass and Willis.
It's across the street from the ice cream place.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
From
yeah.
Have you been in
Lysaria
there?
and Treat
No,
Cheese.
I saw it, and I was like, what is that? I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
The food is so tasty. It's so good, and the owner is the nicest guy around.
It's a Pulp Fiction inspired burger joint.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
We just went there for dinner the other night, and it was great. Really, really great.
That is by far our favorite commercial build-out job that's happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really great to work with someone who's really appreciative and really sweet. Really excited about his business. So.
And we love doing collaborations as well. We had a meeting this morning with a clothing manufacturer. We're going to start making some co-branded items for their shop, which is really exciting to me to team up with these other brands in town and do something that we can both have some recognition from and just make these kind of one-of-a-kind unique pieces that are going to live in people's homes.
Yeah. Do you guys have any big plans for this year other than opening the shop and?
Oh, we have zero plans other than opening the shop. Isn't that enough, Jody?
Well, you never
what do you
know.
want
There
from
could be
us?
something sitting on the back burner. I mean, I know most artists' brains are split into
Well,
like a bajillion pieces.
It's definitely,
we actually
that's
do have-
definitely true. I feel like we have about 100 things we want to be working on, but we're trying to stick with the practicalities. We just relaunched our website and we've made some tweaks there. We have tons of new things we want to be making. We'll see what actually gets launched this year. But building out the store that's our big thing to do.
So you guys do like a ton of custom stuff though too, still. Yeah.
We do, yeah.
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 That's so much fun.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's really great when we get to work with either a great idea and great materials and great color. Like when it all can kind of come together, it's super fun.
So,
Yeah.
and Claire, you like have a printmaking background.
Yeah.
So how does that tie in with what you do?
I know, it's so strange. I kind of think that, I don't know, I certainly never set out to like make picture frames for a living. I never used to frame my own stuff. I hated framing prints. In fact, I started like making prints like too big to be framed or just like specifically to be unframed. So it's kind of funny and it does feel a little disconnected, but I think that I like process and I like material and exploration, like experimentation in that way. And I always have, and I've always played with color and layering. And working with wood is not really that different. So I still get to print a little bit. All of our, like every piece we make has a screen printed logo on it. So I screen print more than anything. But yeah, it's a little different, but kind of a similar process.
Yeah.
Breaking things down into layers and working a little bit backwards sometimes, like reverse engineering, just like you do with a print.
Yeah, a lot of your stuff has like really cool patterns and like colors in it too.
So I think it sort of lends itself to that. But yeah, but it is a little different.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is there anything that you wished that you have done but haven't done with your business? Or just in general, maybe, from where you...
That's a tough question. There are things that we still want to do. We want to expand into a broader brand rather than just doing reclaimed wood items. We're going to move into different mediums, different materials. So that's something that we will. I can't say that's a regret though. Something that we wish we would have done.
I
It's
mean,
just
it doesn't even have to be
future
a
plan.
regret. Yeah, like, that's what you're going...
Yeah, I think the future looks a little bit bigger, a little more open in that way. I'm trying to think of other things. I don't know. Sometimes, especially now that we're getting to the point of opening a store and having this sort of like home base, and things are growing bigger, quicker than we might have anticipated, which is all super great. But sometimes I wish we would have done a little more traveling when we were small and young.
Yeah.
When it was like just the two of us or three of us, like maybe we could have done more shows out of state. Like now that seems really hard and really impossible. And it just doesn't seem to be financially sensible at this point either. So, but I don't know, even just talking about like traveling out of state, paying too much for hotel rooms and like hoping to scrape by and make some money. I sort of wish we would have done a little bit more of that. But that's probably just personally it would not be a good business move.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sometimes I just want to be back in the time where I'm eating ramen and traveling.
I know, right? There's something like so fun about it. And I don't know, I'm thinking it's like that time of year where like all the holiday applications are popping up and like we're getting all these emails and things. And I'm like, man, I don't think we can do what we were doing. You know, I just don't think we can like go to all these things.
Yeah, in the last 4 or 5 years, we've been around the holiday season, not 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years. Around the holiday season, we would do over the November and December, over those 8 weeks. I think last year we did 19 holiday shows over that period of time. And that's something that we're definitely going to be dialing back. I think that we maybe overreached a little bit doing so many shows. They're all great, most of them are profitable, but that end of the year is just brutal on us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But it's also super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to dial back.
Yeah. So if you could go back in time and give yourself advice, what advice would you give yourself?
Go to business school
Hire a bookkeeper
immediately. Yeah.
immediately. Get your numbers straight.
Yeah.
Understand what a profit margin is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then I think also like some we've had some regrets with tooling, and don't buy 5 of the cheapest tools. Just go ahead and buy the one really expensive tool right away because it's worth it. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't rent workspace from somebody that is maybe doesn't have your best interest at heart.
Yeah. Okay, I have one other thing. Stop paying all your money to U-Haul and just buy a damn truck already.
Oh my gosh.
That took us way too long.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to look at our bank statements from 2015 and figure out how much we paid to U-Haul. Whatever.
What advice would you give those just starting off?
The same things we were just saying. Get a bookkeeper right away. Get your finances and your numbers in order before really trying to get any sort of scale.
Before scaling it, and really before showing too much, make sure your pricing is on point. Make sure that you're charging what the piece is worth. Be authentic and genuine with what you're, and consider your worth of the time.
And consider the worth of your time. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your time is valuable. It's the only thing we really own. And our materials are not very expensive, but they're extremely time consuming to turn a piece of old flooring into a picture frame. Factor that in to your pricing because you will not be around for very long if you don't.
Yeah.
Right. And don't sell yourself short, And it's sometimes easy to do when you look around and you see there's like a lot of competition, or you think like, oh, there's a lot of other people that could do this. I mean, yeah, there are other people that can do it, but who really is doing it? Who's doing it with your eye and with your thought? And if you're making good pieces that are well crafted, and you have the education behind you, and you have the creativity behind you, and you're inspired by what you're doing, you should get paid for it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's another thing that's not taught to us in school. I don't know, maybe it's a little different if you're in more of a commercial art program. I don't know. Coming from a fine art program, it's not taught. In fact, money, it's like that dirty thing that no one wants to discuss. You're never really.
I don't even know if it's taught in like commercial, because even like, I don't know, like photography is kind of like a commercial art, and that's not taught at all. It's just taught the skill, assuming that you're going to get hired by somebody.
Right. Which that model doesn't exist anymore.
No.
There's no ad agencies hiring photographers out of school.
No.
It just doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah. No, it's like in this world, it's really up to us to sort of like set that pace, set your price, consider your time, consider your value, and make it happen in that way, right?
Yeah.
While taking into account our customers, who are our customers, and what do they want, and what's it worth to them. And I think as long as you're providing value to someone, they can pay for it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay, I have a couple other little questions.
Sure.
Yeah.
That are kind of just off the topic a little. So what is the weirdest, funniest thing that you've encountered either at a fair or while working with other people?
Well, I can tell you a story about the first art fair we ever did at Palmer Park, and we had no idea what we were doing. So Claire comes from this fine art background, and we wanted to display some picture frames, and normally that's done on a white gallery wall. So we went to Home Depot and bought a bunch of doors and created a white gallery wall that we carried out to the middle of this park, and we brought all of this super heavy furniture that we were making. Nobody's going to an art show to buy furniture, but we had no idea.
Right.
We just didn't know what we were doing. So we had a guy walk up to us, and he was looking around for a second, and he looked at all of our pieces, and he had no teeth. And this is, I always remember this guy. He had no teeth, and he had springs on the bottom of his shoes. I don't know why.
Like this weird, have you seen those weird tennis shoes that kind of like are bouncy at the
They have,
heel?
those.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
weird
I'm not
spring
sure if
ones.
they're for
Yeah.
a medical issue or what, but he had a look about him. And he looked at our stuff, and he looked down at a coffee table, and he said, $400 for this? And I said, yeah. And he said, good luck. And then he springed his way out.
Good luck.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And so we raised our prices.
Yeah.
And we don't sell coffee tables at outdoor art fairs anymore.
No.
I remember, I think like one of the weirdest things that have ever happened to me is I was at the Hamtramck Labor Day Festival, and this guy walks into my booth. He's like, "Oh, this is like all really great stuff. This is like, this is great." And he starts looking through it, leaves, and then comes back 15 minutes later, and he's like, comes in, and he looks around. He has this like disgusted look on his face. He's like, "This stuff is too cutesy. Sucks. Start making real art." And then he walked away. I was like,
What I always think is so weird is people always come in to our booth and pick everything up and they smell everything.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't matter. I mean, sure, sometimes wood has a nice smell to it, but not everything. And something, I mean, it's not like it's not like cedar chips or something. I mean, some of it might have a smell, but it's really bizarre to see people
Like
smell picture frames. And smell like a set of coasters.
picking them up like
Yeah.
soaps or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so bizarre.
Oh, smell this one.
And it's not just once I mean, really, like...
It's over and over and over
yeah,
again.
I would say half the people that pick up our work smell it. It's just really weird. And I always feel very self-conscious because I'm worried that, like, what if it smells like wood stain? You know, especially in the holiday crunch when we're, like, really making things last minute, like things that the supplies being replenished, and I'm like, oh my god, it might smell like Minwax or something.
Yeah.
Why are they smelling this?
Paint huffers.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, if it smells like anything, it's probably not good. Yeah, don't smell that.
So, do you guys have a favorite book? I always ask this on all episodes, what your favorite book and what your favorite album is. So you can each, like, whatever you're reading.
All right. Currently, I'm rereading Hunter S. Thompson's Hell's Angels, which is amazing, and I read it, I don't know, every couple of years or so. I'm a big Vonnegut fan as well. I think my favorite book of all time is probably Slaughterhouse-Five. Love it. Yeah, I find myself reading a lot of things titled, like, The Basics of Wood Finishing and 102 handy table saw techniques. I don't have as much time for fiction as I would like.
Yeah.
I was going to be really boring with my books right now because after coming out of this business class, I'm totally reading the Zingerman's business handbooks that they put out this series. And so that's the only thing I think I've even read at all this year, which is really terrible. But what about albums? That's always hard.
That's a really hard one, yeah. You go ahead, I'll think.
Favorite music that you listen to while you're working, or?
Well, Wayne's into the honky tonk.
Yeah, I like old country music. Everyone here
I
makes
do
fun
too.
of me. Do you? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm kind of obsessing over Nine Inch Nails after seeing them on Twin Peaks last night. So I think I need to go back and revisit my roots.
That's my weightlifting music.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. It's been a while. I used to love to listen to them.
Yeah. Yes, my favorite things to listen to while I'm working are either, there's a guy named Todd Snider out of Nashville. He's like a storytelling foul-mouthed folk singer who's amazing. Do you know Todd Snider?
I've heard of him.
He's awesome.
I think, I have like a Sirius XM radio account that like has like all these different people, and I think he's been on there.
Okay, yeah. Or I have pretty much memorized the Hamilton soundtrack as well. So I do a lot of, and it's quite the dichotomy. I do a lot of singing of Hamilton, and then I end up, that bleeds over into my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, here comes the dinner rolls. And I find
a lot
myself
of
changing
that.
the lyrics to fit into whatever I happen to be doing at the time.
Mostly it's about the dogs.
Mostly, yeah.
That's perfect. So, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
They can look us up online.
MutualAdoration.com.
All right.
Or on Instagram or Facebook at Mutual Adoration Detroit.
All right. I'll
Oh,
have
yeah.
all those links on the Facebook page.
Cool.
Awesome.
Facebook. No, wait. It'll be on the blog and on the show notes. And now I'm on YouTube.
Woohoo!
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys, for being on.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
super
is really
Great.
fun. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
and this is the best way to connect with friends.
Right.
Is doing this podcast. Because
Sure.
we never get out of here.
I know. Now you can just listen to your friends on my channel. And that concludes episode number 14. If you would like to view pictures of Wayne and Claire and their artwork and links to their studio, head on over to DetroitCraftAcademy.com. And as always, if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes and give the show a review. You can also always send me a link at DetroitCraftAcademy@gmail.com. And until next time, keep crafting your dreams.